Hey, it's Golden Buddha here. So, you know me. I love D&D as much as the next guy. Maybe even a little more than the next guy. But sometimes, you need a break from the quasi-medieval lands of Faerun and Golarion. Sometimes you just want to hit a purple alien warlord in the face with your bare fists. Or shoot laser beams out of your eyes and get killed by your girlfriend's evil extra-dimensional alter ego, and then send your son to the dark future where all superheroes have been systematically hunted and destroyed just so he can grow up safely and then come back to the present looking physically older than you, telling you he has to kill your mentor, who is a bald psychic paraplegic that runs an orphanage slash school slash paramilitary organization. Otherwise, the world will become a hellish nightmare ruled by an ancient antediluvian mutant tyrant that will usher in a new era of pain and destruction, the likes of which the world has never seen or experienced. If you haven't guessed it yet, I'm going to be talking about Marvel today. But not really the comics. I'm talking about this. The Marvel Superheroes RPG is a wonderful little RPG that's easy to learn, flexible as a gymnast, and almost perfectly encapsulates what it's like to be a comic book hero during the Bronze Age of comics. Originally, this game was released in 1984 by TSR, aka the same guys who made D&D, for those of you who don't know that. It had a pretty good run from 1984 to 1992 in 3 different editions. You got the basic box set, which came with a few bells and whistles like shitty metal minis,
which was the style at the time.
The advanced set, which adds a fair amount of rules, powers, and complexity to the game, for better or for worse. Kind of analogous to the advanced Dungeons & Dragons to D&D Basic. And finally, we have the basic revised set, which is what we're going to be looking at today, because that's the version I'd recommend for anyone who wants to dive into this awesome game. This is my personal copy of the rulebook right here. As you can see, it's only 64 pages, not a very thick book. The modules are even smaller, usually about less than half the page count, with a nice little fold-out map. TSR definitely nailed the whole comic book feel. Look at this adventure, Nightmares of Future Past, which is one of my favorites, by the way. Look at the cover! Tell me this doesn't look cool! They even sprinkle artwork from the comics. So, that's a hound? I've heard of them, Sergeant, but never met one before. She's the best, sir. There! Damn, they ain't gonna be in Rush Hour 3. Very little space is wasted in this book, not even on the insides of the covers. Everything about it lends to that 80s era comic book feel. Especially these cheap-ass staples they use to hold it together. But let's not judge a book by its cover, even though that's literally what I just did. I'm sure some of you out there don't give a shit about aesthetics, and ultimately, an RPG book can look as sexy as it wants to be and be absolutely terrible and obtuse to read or play. It's like my boy Reggie said.
If it's not fun, why bother?
Let's get into the crunch. There are 3 basic things you need to know in order to play the game. 1. What phase rip stands for. 2. What rank numbers are. And 3. How to use the universal table. First, you'll need 2 D10s. Phase rip is an acronym for your main ability scores. We got F for fighting, A for agility, S for strength, E for endurance, R for reason, I for intuition, and P for psyche. 7 stats, and they're all self-explanatory for the most part, but the book goes into further detail in the intro chapter. So you might ask, what are ranks and rank numbers? Well, it's pretty much equivalent to a power level for each stat. Ranks have names that indicate their power levels relative to others. So, to use an example, I'll be using a well-known anti-hero named Chad Thundercock. Now, Chad Thundercock has a fighting ability of Remarkable, which is equal to 30, numerically, as opposed to this random pink guy over here, who only has a Poor fighting ability, equal to 4. Now, somehow, this pink monster has offended Chad's superior sensibilities, so he's decided to teach him a lesson in humility. In order to resolve this fight, let's go to the universal table. No, that's the universal table. Now put in the universal table. Thank you, that's better. So, Chad wants to throw a simple yet powerful jab at the creature. We look at his fighting ability, which is remarkable, and roll some d10s. Boom, 68. That's a yellow result. So, then I go up to BA on the table, which stands for blunt attacks. Yellow equals a slam. The pink ball tries to resist the slam by rolling endurance. Unfortunately, it only has poor endurance. It rolls on the slam table. Rolls a 10. Oh no. Chad sends the pink monster flying! And that's the basics. You now know how to play this entire game. Everything you do goes back to this chart. Want to shoot lightning at a guy? Check the table. Want to dodge a bullet? Check the damn table. Want to do a somersault while web swinging through? Didn't I just tell you to check the fucking table? It's easy. You don't have to go flipping through a 228-page rulebook to find the 2 rules that pertain to backflips and if they provoke an attack of opportunity. Just have the player roll agility. If he gets a white result, he eats shit and breaks his arm. If he rolls a red result, he sticks the landing with ease. It's so fucking simple. I love it. There are 5 main hero origins to choose from, with each one representing archetypes you see in Marvel. We have Altered Humans, who get a permanent stat boost to one of their main ability scores. Captain America and Spider-Man fall into this category. High Tech, who get lower physical stats, but make up for it with massive brain meat and fat cash stacks. Batman and Iron Man occupy this one, obviously. Mutants, who get stronger powers, but less money, and everyone hates them because they exist. X-Men, etc. Robots, who are immune to emotion and mind control powers. Vision falls in this category. And finally, aliens, who are basically anything that isn't in the previous 4 origin categories. Thor and Silver Surfer are in this one. But what if you want to make a magical wizard character, like Dr. Fate or Doctor Strange? Well, fuck you, because the writers seem to think that magic is OP in the Marvel Universe and more trouble than it's worth. But you can play an altered human and flavor him to be a magician or whatever. Roll your powers, which have power ranks just like ability scores. The game gives you stats for all the major Marvel heroes for this era, so if you don't feel like rolling up a character, just grab your favorite hero and start playing. What do you get for beating up monologuing villains and saving peons from becoming best friends with the pavement? Well, besides getting a half chub from earning a hard-fought victory, you get karma. Now, what is karma? Here it is. It's the sum of a person's actions in this and previous states of existence, viewed as deciding their fate in future existences. That can't be right. That sounds too complicated to accurately calculate. Anyway, karma is your XP/brownie points that you can use to make yourself more useful. So different heroic acts give you different amounts of karma points. Saving a man who has fallen into the Lego City River is worth 20 karma, while stopping terrorists from slamming an airplane into a skyscraper will be worth much more. This karma can then be used to purchase new powers and talents, or can be spent to get a desired result. For example, the pink guy wants a rematch with Chad Thundercock. He sneaks up behind him and tries to grapple him with his poor strength. Because his strength is so low, he would have to get at least an 86 to get a partial grapple. But this pink guy, he really wants this to succeed, so he declares that he's spending karma to get a red result, which is a full hold. Normally, this 10 would be a miss, but since the pink guy has so much karma saved up from defeating Eldritch Abominations and saving the entire universe, he spends 90 karma points to boost the result to 100. He grabs Chad Thundercock and... victory! One thing that jerks my chicken about this game is rank names. Mostly because they can lead to exchanges like this. Alright, you hit Dr. Doom with your amazing super strength and do 40 damage. Wait, my strength isn't amazing, it's incredible. I know, That's why you only did 40 damage. However, he resists the punch with his remarkable force field. Wait, if the force field is remarkable, then shouldn't it be down now? No, the force field is amazing, so it's worth 50. Okay then, I'll finish off the force field with a blast of unearthly eldritch energy. Wait a minute, I thought you said your magic blast was monstrous, not unearthly. Yeah, it's a pretty good power. Wait, is it good or unearthly? No, it's monstrous. You see how that devolved into a bad Monty Python sketch? You should get ready to start looking for some new adjectives if you want to play this game. Also, the rules for magic are kinda wonky. The basic rules just say you have generic magic blasts to start, and that sorcerers pay less for power stunts, which means they can get powers faster. And speaking of getting powers, it is very hard to get additional powers in this game. Thematically, it makes sense. Most heroes are defined by their powers, because most comic book heroes are two-dimensional at best. In comic book land, the status quo is God. We can't have any lasting changes. Peter Parker can never be happy and successful. He always has to be a fucking loser living with his 80-year-old aunt. Mr. Fantastic finds out how to turn the thing back to human, but oops, it was only temporary. Actually, Peter Parker has retired from the Spider-Man role and passed on the mantle to Miles Morales, a much younger black... Yeah, it only took him 30 fucking years! Anyways, let me get off my soapbox. It costs 100 karma times the rank number of your power or ability to raise it to that level. For example, if this pink guy from earlier wants to raise his strength from poor to typical, it's going to cost him 600 karma. If your GM is generous with karma, and you're playing a smaller sized group, maybe 3 other players, you might be able to get that much karma after about 5 sessions, maybe? And that's assuming you don't cause too much property damage and don't get your ass beat by villains, because guess what? You lose karma for that. Getting your ass beat in public? Minus 40 points. Getting your ass beat behind closed doors? Minus 20 points. Failing to stop a robbery? Minus 10 points. Letting anyone die, bad guys included, all of your karma. Yes, you heard me correctly. Rules as written. If a bad guy decides to shoot himself in the head and you and your team fail to prevent him from doing that, they lose all karma. Now you might say, Buddha, that seems like bullshit. And my only reply would be, yes. Yes, it does. My suggestion? Use a house rule to lower the karma loss to something more manageable if you don't like it. Personally, I run it rules as written, but it's mostly just to spite my players, cause why not? Anyway, if this game sounds like something you may be interested in, check out the link down below. There's also a link to a super active community for this game on Classic Marvel Forever. They make new source books and stuff for this old ass game all of the time, like every couple of months. If you want to see more videos like this, please like, subscribe, and donate to my coffee so I can afford a turkey sandwich this week. And as always, this is Golden Buddha telling you to stay enlightened and stay safe.